Hey everybody, this is Incantations and Elixirs, where conversation meets cocktails. I am Maureen Grudzinski, and I'm here with my great co-host,
Anthony Simonelli. How you doing?
we are running a little behind because we had some technical difficulties. However, we're good now, and I got to slam a cheeseburger down my throat at the last minute. So tonight we have two announcements. Should we wait till the end?
I froze up.
I see that.
So, what the hell?
What is wrong?
I'm going to go out, come back in.
I'll wait for you.
I don't know.
Okay, so we'll wait for Anthony. I'm going with a new hair look tonight, just so we're having a little fun. So tonight, we are doing a little fun thing. We're going to talk about our, oh, you love cheeseburgers, cheese, and cheesecake. I do as well, Julie. Hi, guys. Captain, we have comments. Snazzy hair, thank you. Hi, Senya. I don't know who the Facebook users are. Who's Captain, we have comments, and who's hi? Cheese toast. Going to stay for a moment, and I got a jet. Okay, so as soon as Anthony gets back, then we'll do the announcement so you guys can hear it, and then we'll announce it again at the end for people who miss it. Thanks for being here, Julie. Good days to the Incantations and Elixirs tribe. Oh, I like that. We are a tribe. We're family. Hi, Lynn. Where is he? Maybe he should go back to his car. Let's go, Simonelli. Oh, Lynn. Hi, Tootsie. Device connecting. Thank you, Izzy. Okay, I'm going to bring him in. Are we better? You're good.
Am I in?
You're in.
I don't see me on the screen, that's why.
So Julianne has to like blast out. So do you want to announce now what our two big things are, and then we'll announce again at the end? Hi, Oofy.
Okay, you got me now? Okay, good.
Yes. What are you doing? So do you want to announce our two big announcements now, and then we'll do it again at the end for whomever is with us at the end?
No, you can make the announcements. You're better at that than I am.
So our first announcement, this is on the smaller end of things. So we are changing our time. Hi, Oofy. We're changing our time slot because it's difficult to get, it's kind of difficult to get guests for you guys. And we would love to have amazing guests for you because we want to have the best. So we're going to leave the 6 to 8 time slot, and we're kind of changing it up, and it's not going to be an on the hour. It's going to be 7:30 to 9:30 East Coast time. So we can have amazing guests for you all. And we are going to have some fantastic guests in the month of January. So this is our last show for December. The other announcement is really, really amazing. And we were offered to team up with someone who goes by UG Media, 7:30 to 9:30. So we're still going to have 2 hours Eastern Standard. Someone found us, and it's UG Media, and it's out of the UK. So Andy, you should be happy about that. And they're not only going to stream us live, but they're also going to replay us as well. So we'll still be with ERRT Radio, but we will also be broadcasting out of the UK. So we're going international. And
awesome.
It's really awesome. So we're really excited, and that
Mhm.
starts January 5th. So not only will we be
I
starting
got my
Monday,
excited face on. I got the same face for everything. Excited,
again, you
happy.
can I can tell a whole story with my eyes and my face. Thank you so much. We're really
I did too
excited.
with my hands.
Well,
I'm not
that's
gonna do those
exciting.
gestures now. Hey.
Congratulations. Yes, thank you. Thanks, Sonia. Thanks, Julie. Um, so ERRT USA and UG Media UK. So we'll be broadcasting from both starting January 5th from 7:30 to 9:30 East Coast time. So we're super stoked about that. And I don't know,
Hmm.
I like keeping everyone guessing to see who we have each week instead of letting everyone know month to month. I don't know. How does everyone else feel about that? Do you like to know week to week, or would you like to hear our calendar? What do you think, Simonelli?
I I think we could give a couple, ideas of who we're going to have so far for this month. You know,
For the
so it gives
next
so people have something to look forward to. They don't have to hear me with my boring stories.
someone else said surprise.
Surprise. Okay.
Oh, so Julianne said she'd like to hear the calendar in advance. So Ufi said surprise us. So we have two surprises, one calendar in advance. Anyone else?
I still like the advanced one.
So does the host count?
I guess I don't. Hey, I'm just here for the for my good looks or whatever you
That's
want to
true.
call them.
That's true. So tonight we have plenty of time to do whatever we want. So tonight we wanted to make it about our guests. So we're going to talk about stories of investigations. We're going to answer any questions you guys have. Well, maybe not all of them because it might be a little risque, but we're trying to make it family friendly tonight. We're going to answer questions about favorite investigations, scariest investigations, funniest moments. We're going to talk about what we like to use on our investigations as far as
Hmm.
electronic devices, psychic things. Andy wants the special announcements. Not sure what that is. Andy, did you miss our? Oh, it's PG-13 night. Kind of. We can work around that. Andy, my mother.
Reach 13. Oh, okay.
Andy, I love the meme, by the way. Thank you so much for that. I really need it. So we have, I think, a kind of more surprises than wanting to know in advance. We always announce our show like a night before, but Ron is wanting us to do a little video like the Monday before our show. So Monday night instead of the night before. So I guess maybe that's kind of a surprise and also giving them an idea, at least like a couple days in advance.
Okay.
Are you up for a
Give a
video
couple.
on like Mondays?
Sure. Sure.
So we're still kind of doing a little bit of each.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. I'm always in for something. Why not? Could try a little video.
What did everybody get for Yule or Christmas or winter solstice or whatever? Let's talk about that. If anybody wants to tell us in the comments what you got, that's really awesome. Let us know. What did you get, Anthony? Were you a good boy? Did you get coal? Did Krampus visit you?
No, I got two new. Well, I got three new Tascam video. What do you call it? Recorders, audio recorders. I got,
Nice.
I got, stuff for stuff, so for my production part of this, the Seekers Chronicles, and I got new microphones. I'm trying to build a office. My son moved out, so I got his room now. So I'm trying to get my office together and a little studio to do interviews with and everything with the production part of what I do. And plus, it holds all my equipment. Well, most of my equipment for my paranormal stuff, and that's So I got recorders, I got microphones, I got all the gadgets to keep me going, for a little bit.
Oh, Lynn, that was a nice
To,
gift.
to
Maybe
at
we
least
should get
next
you
year,
a new.
Christmas.
Maybe we should get you a new cell phone for Christmas.
Well, I'm working on getting. Well, I'm getting cameras and stuff. My son's gonna build me a new computer, so I can actually do this on my computer. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. We
So
need to
he's
get you
gonna
like a
build me a
little
new
radio
computer.
station,
I got. I got. See all the stuff I got. I got microphones for this. I got cameras for this. I got lights for this. But my computer doesn't. It's a little old, and it doesn't with the microphones and the camera. The camera jumps around, and so he's gonna build me a new one. So I have something for next year to start working with and get off this damn cell phone, so I can hear you better.
That would be great. Why, you can't hear
and see
me?
you better. I can hear most of the time, but I'm old too, so
Lynn, that
old
would
guys
be great.
with the hearing.
If you can work with him, we would love that. I think that's Lynn, Seekers Chronicles. Is that who uses Seekers Chronicles, or is that someone else?
That's me. That's me and Lynn Lewick. We started a thing called Seekers Chronicles. It's paranormal historians, and we started doing some about thinking about a serial killer out on Long Island. We started doing footage on that, videotaping it. She's a good photographer, plus she's a great editor. So she's working on that. And that's the thing we're going to do the Fox sisters with. We're finishing my documentary I started 2 years ago. So she's going to help me with that. So, and we're working a couple other things,
Well, so she said that she's going to work with you. Just give me time with Anthony getting upgraded equipment. I love her already. And Goofy would like an episode or short segment on psychic goldfish. We can do that. And someone wants to know if there's anything that they can download to their phone to see if there are any spirits hanging around. Yes. Ghost Box is one of them. The other is...
spirit boxes. You got the what do you call it? A couple of the stuff. What I always tell people when I talk about stuff with this, if you want to, I use WavePad. You got a free version of it, because some people want to, when they get into the paranormal, they're all into it. They spend all this money on equipment, and then they don't use it because something happens, they get scared, whatever. So if you want to get something for your cell phone, get WavePad. It's cheap. It's free. You could get the upgraded version and cost you money. And there's other ones also, but I use WavePad, and a couple people I introduced WavePad love it. You download it, and then you just do EVPs. You go somewhere, you do EVPs. When it comes to the other stuff like ghost detecting and stuff like that, there's in the field, some people like it, some people question it, because cell phones are made a certain way. So some of the stuff that we have as equipment, the cell phone is not equipped with that same technology as the equipment. So, you have to look into it. Do reviews. If you're going to get something, download something, like your spirit box or something like that. There's so many different versions. Just look at the reviews of what people left, the reviews before you download it on your phone or your pad or something like that. Because it's always good. I got 2 cell phones, not because I'm rich, because I use one of my cell phones because I have stuff that I do use on my cell phone, like some cameras and stuff like that, and my WavePad, because that stuff takes up a lot of memory. So you don't want to use a phone that you use for service to talk to anybody with. So you have the second one, or maybe an old cell phone that you could use as a camera, or even a WavePad, or it's audio recorder. WavePad is audio recorder. So, and it's good because you could actually cut it and edit it right there. You could trim the screen because it has the waves in it and everything. You could trim it to what you want to hear. You could amplify it. So I would say get like WavePad. Uh,
Yeah.
no, I'm not making any money off of Waypad to say that. So,
I've had luck with, first I used Ghostbox because it does have an SLS. I had luck with EchoVox, and Lynn just said necrophonics. And my friend Lynn just said maybe I should have Maureen Grudzinski come visit instead. And I've had really good luck with Lynn. I've called her out of the blue and I've said, why am I calling you? Because I heard your name and I need to talk to you, which by the way, I do need to talk to you. And I want to talk to your son because I gave Anthony an idea for a t-shirt last night, and your son, I need him to design it for us. Ufi said, has anyone ever used the Bible code to detect at haunted locations?
I don't know of that. No, I've never used anything with that. But you could try it. I mean, if you feel something like that could be used to detect a haunted location, that'd be fine. You know, I don't put down anything with that. So give it a shot. I have never tried it. I don't know anybody that has tried it. So, so it's not one of the pieces of equipment that everybody carries around. Even though I do carry a Bible and everything with me to protect myself.
I'm not religious. I'm not Wiccan, but I'm a witch. I don't feel like, I don't know, organized religion is like organized education to me. I'm not into organized anything. I guess I'm a rebel, but I take black crystals with me of every sort. And I think if you have faith in yourself and just faith itself, and you know that you're more powerful than whatever is unseen or what isn't physical, I think you're automatically taking care of yourself. Right?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I believe, I take the Bible, I pray and everything like that, but that's the way I feel strong. It's like, it's depending on the piece of equipment you're going to take with you. You might take the Bible, you might take your cross, you might take your crystals. Somebody might take Star of David, whatever their faith is. Whatever you feel strong with is what gives you that power against any kind of spirit. It could be your faith. It could be anything you believe in. If you believe in something strong enough, you're going to have that power over what's ever going to, try to hurt you or attack you, which you still probably will eventually. If you go some places I've been, they're still going to attack you anyway. Yeah. So that's the whole thing.
That's why I think if you have enough faith in yourself, like if you believe in the fact that you're not going home with something, or I mean, I think anyone can be attacked. Just like when we had Anito on the show, like he said, anyone can really be attacked if you're weak enough, or if you think that you don't, you don't have it, or if you're sick, if you're weak-minded, if you whatever. And like we've ran this question a million times in my house, like, why does it always seem to be the most religious people typically? Maybe they're drinking a lot, or maybe they're sick, or maybe they're questioning their beliefs, or it could be anything, but it doesn't ever seem to be people who are of other faiths. I will absolutely call you, Lynn. Thank you for being here. I think it's a lot, but it could be many things. I really do think I did have an attachment at one time, but it was when I was my weakest, because it was when I was the sickest. And I think that it's not necessarily my faith was the lowest in myself. I just think that I was really, really run down.
I mean, all you have to, I don't care how strong you think you are. You always have that little low point in your life, or, you don't think you're weak, but you do have that in you that they will take advantage of, and you could get an attachment. I've been, on investigations I've been on, I have been scratched, pushed, punched, I came out with red marks on my back, on my hands. I had it one time coming out on one investigations. It looked like a handprint that like something, a little kid grabbed my hand. It was a handprint on top of my hand. So it's, you know, it doesn't matter how protected you are. Something always could find their way back with you or try to hurt you. In my case, I want that. I want the evidence that something is there. You know, that's how far into it I get. I welcome, if you want to touch my hand, hold my hand, scratch me. Sometimes that is way they contact you to show you that they're there. It's weird. It's not that trying to hurt you, but that's the only way they could get across to you to tell you that they're there. And that's why a lot of this, you know, people get hurt and stuff. But when you get scratched, you feel, oh, I'm being attacked. You're not being attacked. It's just trying to let you know, hey, I'm here. And that's the only way they could get across to you.
Right.
You know, so, you know, I mean, it does get nerve-wracking, scary, you know, when you're in a location, a really bad haunted location, and you are there by yourself, and all of a sudden something, you feel a scratch on your back or on your neck, or something touches you, or something actually, sometimes you actually get that coldness, something feels like it goes through you. And it's like all pins and you turn it like to one big pins and needles, like when your hand falls asleep or your foot falls asleep or so, legs. That's how your whole body feels. And it's like a cold, it feels like an Arctic wind going through you. And then all of a sudden you feel pins and needles. That's how it feels when something goes through you. That's most likely a spirit. So if they want to interact with you, they're going to interact. You know, if you're going to go look for spirits and you're going to go out there, more likely you're going to come across it.
Yeah.
You know, not every place is haunted. I mean, we've been to places that we thought, that we're told, oh, this place is bad, it's bad, and you find stuff. It's like, this place is not haunted. It's really not. A haunting is it's not like a haunting is something that's going to try to physically hurt you or toss things around, or, you know, it's you know, if you're at a home or something. You know, so, you know, not everywhere is haunted. So, you know, you have these people. I have people that tell me that my life is, everything's wrong in my life. Oh, it's my husband, my wife, we're breaking up, we don't get along. And, you know, there's something I must have came back with something from one of these investigations, or no. Why don't you just reevaluate your life with with that person? It's not spirits or ghosts that are breaking you up. Sometimes it's more likely you. You know, just reevaluate.
It could be retrograde if you believe in it. I mean, it could be something that transpired that, like I always talk about, you could be on a higher vibration than the other person. It could be that you need to work on something. Maybe you're maybe the way you talk to each other has started to fail recently. So running into a ghost is like entering a neutrino beam. I think it depends on the spirit. Sometimes it's freezing cold. Sometimes it's really hot. Sometimes there's static with it. Depends on the ghost.
If they touch you, I mean, just recently, first time I ever went there, in West Virginia, the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. And I was there with Chris Allgood, and we were walking down the walking. It was like the violent women section.
Yeah.
And they said the women like to interact with the men. I'm walking, and I have my camera. And remember, this is pitch black. All we got is a little bit of, I got my LED screen that's 2 inches I could see out of. And they had a couple flashlights on because, I mean, it was really dark. You know, Audrey was there, Audrey Keebler, his wife. And we're walking. All of a sudden, my arm, and I went in there, I said, hello, ladies, you know, if you want, you could touch me if you want. As I said that, my arm got cold. It felt like somebody just touched my arm, and all the hairs on my arms stood straight up. You know, being Italian, I got hairy arms. You know what I'm saying? So the hair stuck up, and it was like, wow, you could see it. and you could see the arm, where I got the feeling it was like all like red. It's like, you know, it was weird. I'm like, oh, cool. You know, I'm like, this is great. They're touching me. Like, hey, something's touching me, and everybody's taking pictures of my arm and everything. But that's what we do in investigations. You know, you ask them to touch you, they will touch you. And if you go into enough investigations, if you go to really haunted locations, you're going to come across, you know, something may touch you. I got pushed. I got hit. I also had transalligating. I have a video. I walked into one room, had the video camera on my shoulder, looking, and like I said, everything's night vision. And I also now I have body cams, like the cops have. So I have the body cam on. So I'm walking in the room, and all of a sudden, something's tossed at me. I get hit in the chest. I go, whoa, something hit me. And my camera goes up. Later on, I did reviews on both of them. I didn't get it on the camera going up, but I got it on my body cam. You see something coming up, and you hear me get hit, boom, oh, something hit me, and then there's something coming back down. So I got video evidence on that. So, you know, you go in these places, anything's possible. If you're a ghost hunter, you're gonna come across things, and I'm talking about like lunatic asylums and prisons and stuff like that. Something hospitals, like you know, that, you know, they treat their patients right. You could come across something that's gonna try to let you know they're there.
Yeah, like we were in Gettysburg, and Todd and Izzy and we went on an extreme ghost hunt. So we went, and I really hate using the word ghost hunt because ghosts are people. They're just no longer living. They still have emotions. I mean, as long as it's not like a residual. Thank you, Ufi. I don't like the fact that the word hunt or hunting is used, because it's like, what if we were being hunted? You know, I like the term investigation or investigating or research. And I like the term spirit better. So we went to the old field hospital. It's a house that was used as a hospital. And it was funny because none of them would speak to Izzy or me, because they were soldiers, and Todd was using his rank that he's called now as sergeant, but he's not military, and they kept talking to him, so we wouldn't get spoken to at all. So if we had a question, we'd have to go through him, and then he'd have to relay the message, and it was a whole conversation. And they kept calling him sergeant. So he would call them private, and he would give them orders. And that's how the whole conversation went. So at the end of speaking in this one particular room in the downstairs, he told them that he was going to the attic. And we were told that the attic was dangerous and it had some kind of negative entity. And this private said, "Do not go into the attic, Sergeant." And if anyone has met or knows my husband, he's going to do exactly what he's told not to do. So we went to the attic, and this voice kept telling him not to go to the attic. And it followed us and told him not to go to the attic. So we went up the stairs, and Izzy was between us, and she was young at the time. I mean, she was only like 13 or 14 years old. And she kept telling him that she didn't want to go. But we told her that she'd be fine. So we get to the attic, and there were toys scattered all over the floor. So we were asking the questions, you know, are you a child? And first we asked, are you female? And it had a very deep male voice. And then it said, are you a child? We asked, are you a child? And it said, yes. And it sent chills up your spine. Because first, you know, it's lying. And second, you know, it's not a child. And it sounded demonic. I mean, I don't think it was, but I think whatever it was had been there for a really long time. It really didn't want to be there anymore. It just wanted to get the hell out of there. So, you know, there was a ball that kind of rolled, and there were dolls. And I had the temperature sensor, and all of a sudden Izzy lets out this blood curdling scream, and she says, "It grabbed my arm!" And I turned it, and there's this red hot handprint on her arm, and she goes to run down the attic stairs and like almost knocks me down backwards with her. She grabs my arm to take me with her. She would not go back upstairs. And then Todd's angry at this point, and he's like, "I'm gonna kill you." And I yelled back, "I think it's already there, don't you?" You can't really do much more with it at this point. So then, he was upstairs investigating, and now we're downstairs, and we really couldn't get any answers. And there was one soldier that would talk to us, and his name was Patrick. And then we couldn't find Todd at all. And he's outside now, like he's totally off on his own, doing his own thing. So we laugh about it now, and I have the picture, but it was an actual red hot handprint, and her skin was hot. The temperature gauge was registering as hot, and she was totally traumatized by this at the time. But of course now, all she wants to do is go looking for anything dead. Like she loves what we do. It's amazing to see how things change, and she's not afraid of anything at all. She's completely fearless. So that's something I totally love about her, and she's ready to go. So it wasn't funny at the time. It was completely terrifying, because it honed in on her because she was the child, and she knew that we were going to get a reaction. But it's funny now, thinking about how I almost had a broken back and like a smashed in skull just from her taking me with her. It's terrifying.
I love Gettysburg. I went there. I started going there in 2008 to start investigating, and I went there straight for like up to 2013, twice a year, going there. And I got so much evidence there. I got so much there from the Farnsworth and Tilly Pierce house. I stayed in Tilly Pierce quite a few times, and we got some of our first good evidence there. We were I played, we had cameras in the hallway at nighttime, and then it's walking. It's like I got up and I walked to one of the rooms. I was with my son. My son, he was 13 years old at that time, so he started young with me going on these investigations.
Yeah.
And we walk into this room, and is anybody here? Anybody want to speak to us? I'm doing EVP, and I got 2 night vision cameras up, and we're staying in this room. It's on the side there, and we didn't hear nothing. So we go back, and then the next day I play playback, and you hear me say, "Is anybody here yet?" No. On my recorder. Now I got it on my recorder. I got it on my cameras too. I got it on my camera also, because my camera was right there. So I got it on both locations. And it was just me and my son that was in that room at that time. And at that time, my brother was with us also. And there was somebody else staying in the hotel. So it was like nobody there, and it was early in the morning. So my brother, he was in the room. He just came out too. He was with us also. It was the 3 of us in that room. And nobody said a word. And the reason I know that, because I had the camera on everybody. So you could see if they moved their mouth. And nobody moved their mouth. So it was pretty cool. That was one of the good EVPs that we had there. The Farnsworth, the Dobbs. Anywhere you go there, I consider Gettysburg is like the candy store for the paranormal. If you have a bad year not getting anything, go to Gettysburg. You're gonna get something.
You can find it anywhere. You could walk into a freaking McDonald's and order a double cheeseburger, and you'll get, "Hey, what's up?" "Hi, Katie."
"Hey, Katie, what's up? How you doing, Katie?"
"Katie, you are the busiest hands I know." And thanks for liking and sharing. I tried to friend you on Facebook, and I don't know if I couldn't find you or if you were just like, I followed you, but I friended your husband, so that was exciting for me.
There was some questions from before. Ufi?
Yeah.
GX, do ghost stack books. I heard cases there were. I never seen it myself.
I've never
I have
seen
seen.
that.
Huh?
I've never seen that, but I have a really interesting story. So,
Yeah.
I had a keychain.
I had books thrown at me. I
Well,
had books thrown off the shelf at me.
is that your wife though, or is that a ghost
Who?
that are throwing books?
Oh, no, no. My wife doesn't throw books.
That's
She's
good. Pots and
she's
pans.
she's Armenian and Spanish, so they throw knives.
I did have this happen, which this was probably like one of the coolest things that's ever happened. Well, first of all, I have things go missing and then things show up all the time. And it's like, I don't know if I have a trickster here or if it's something else, but like crazy stuff. So I had a keychain that I bought in Philly. I used to go to a doctor in Philly like all the time, and it was just something that was normal for me. I'd be like, okay, I'm going to Philly for a doctor's appointment, so I'm going to go shopping on South Street. So there was this cool little like witchy place that I would go to all the time, and I went in, and this one particular day something told me to buy this keychain with an evil eye on it. And I popped my keys on it immediately, like as I was walking. I wasn't even like paying attention. I got home, and immediately within like that week, the evil eye was ripped off of it. Super bizarre. And it was like this big. It was so small that, and it had like a hamsa with the evil eye, and it like ripped right off. It was the weirdest thing, like within 1 week. So why, spirit guides tell me to buy this only to have the thing pulled off? I looked everywhere for it, couldn't find it, nowhere. And I thought, okay, so it's like it ripped off in the parking lot at work, or, whatever happened. So years pass by, legit years. My mom passes away. It was the most tragic way someone can lose their parent. Everyone's devastated. All this terrible stuff happens. Like the family's a mess. Everybody kind of gets ripped apart. It's awful. I come home from someplace. I go into my bedroom. In the middle, now, no one else was here. In the middle of my dresser is this evil eye. There's no way in hell anybody else was here. No one else found it and put it in the middle of my dresser. It was nuts, like bizarre.
That's the reason you bought it. It made you buy it for that point, that it come back to you and say things are going to be okay.
There's no way that I would remember that to be telling this particular story, to remember all those little details up to that. And it's weird stuff. Like, I mean, we have things go missing only to show up out of the blue, and everybody goes, holy shit. Like, whatever's missing. And then all of a sudden, there it is.
I had something like that. It was weird too. My mom passed, and we had she has that house in Glendale, New York, and she left it to my brother and I. So it was a two-family. He's been living up on the second floor of the house for a long time, and she was on the first floor. So I was over there, and I was going to take the apartment over and do some stuff with it, and for my paranormal stuff, I was going to make it into like an office type area where I could do shootings and stuff, shoot some videos or whatever. And so I'm cleaning up the room. There used to be her bedroom, which I had a desk in there. I converted it into like a little office area for the meantime. But I was in there cleaning it up because I had the old records, from from the 60s and 70s, the old original Beatle albums and stuff. So I was listening to them. So I took them out and I was putting them away, and they were all over my desk. So I picked them up. I was trying to put them away. So my desk had nothing on it. So I'm going cleaning up and whatever, and I look at my desk, and there's a pin on the desk of a rose. It's old rose pin stuff. It's a pin my mother used to wear on her jacket, sitting in the middle of my desk. I was like, Ma, you got something to say to me? And I realized it was 8 years, almost that weekend. My mother's birthday is on January 31st. She died February 1st. So it was like right before her birthday, and I see this pin. I'm like, huh. And she was turning 80. She would have been turning 80 that year too. So I'm like, I was like, oh, I got really emotional. I felt that she was there. I could feel her presence and everything. And I said, my mother was like very into Betty Boops. She collected anything Betty Boop.
Yeah.
So I said, Mom, I'm gonna get you a gift. So you see my tattoo?
Yep. Love it.
Betty Boop. So I said, Mom, I got that tattoo in her dedication, for my mom. But I mean, it was weird how that was, how that was just sitting there out of nowhere, and I didn't see that for years. We went through that apartment. We cleaned it up quite a few times. We donated a lot of her stuff to like Salvation Army and charities and stuff. And she had a lot of medical stuff that because she later in life she got really sick. She had cancer and everything, and so I dedicated a lot of stuff. I donated a lot of this stuff to all these places. So I have no idea where that pin came from. And we know it was her, my brother. I even showed my brother because that's Mommy's pin. She used to wear it in her jacket. So, where that pin pop up from, I have no idea. But I knew she was there, at least that day. She does appear. She does. I always could feel her presence and stuff like that.
That's really strange. Like I've had my mom, well, I told you how she was sitting on my bed and she gave me a warning. That's the only time I've actually seen her well, I saw her the week before she passed away, but she was like a hologram. And then I saw her full body. It's weird. I don't know how many other psychic mediums are not able to see their own family, but I don't know if it's maybe because they give me like little, hey, I'm here all the time. Like she walked past the bathroom when I was in the shower one day and she was like, hi, hon. But I think like I hear her so much, like hear her, not hear her, so often that I don't really need her. And it's like a too close kind of thing. But I dream about my family members all the time. And that's another way of seeing your loved ones because it's kind of like astral projection and it's the easiest way to see them. But I saw my dog sitting on the couch last Christmas Eve and we had to put him to sleep because he had cancer in May. And it was just the most heartbreaking thing to watch because he was with me for 14 years. He was like my bestie. He was there for, divorce and illness and everything. And to have to make that decision, no one ever has to make that decision. It's heartbreaking. And I came upstairs and he was part greyhound. So he had the big long legs. And when he'd lay on the couch, he could actually touch the floor. So he'd cross his paws and they would both be touching the floor. But I came upstairs and I kind of heard like a jingle. So I heard the collar. And then when I turned back around, he was like on the couch, just like that. It made me bawl my eyes out because like that was the one Christmas gift I really needed. So it was really difficult. But like, there are some things that you just can't explain, like finding things like that, or like pennies on the floor where you shouldn't see. Like I was in Mexico and I dumped my change out of my purse before I went. You don't see pennies in Mexico because you deal with pesos and, dólares and whatever. But I found a penny on the floor in my room that was not there. And it was the biggest message from my mother that I could have ever needed at that absolute moment. And it made a decision for me that was life-changing. And it had a year on it that gave me my message that I absolutely required at that moment. And it changed everything for me for the rest of my life. Like, it was amazing. Thanks, Lou. He says, what a great show. Katie says, I Googled my dad's obituary 2 weeks before he died. One and only time I ever did that because he didn't respond to an email I sent. He was alive but died shortly after. Wow, that's like earth-shattering. Venus says,
Katie, knowing Katie, she has abilities, but I think she hides them a little bit there.
I think
Katie, you do have.
Has abilities.
Everybody has. Everybody has some sort of abilities of seeing stuff, and a lot of people just hide it, just keep it to themselves because if they're not afraid of it, some of them are afraid of it. Some of them just want to see, of things that are not, that they don't think it's there, or but some people do have abilities.
I think sometimes we think that we're losing our minds. Sometimes we think that we're kind of, I don't think that that's what happened. I think I just thought that I heard that, or I saw that, or I'm hoping I saw that, or whatever. But
that's right. I still do that to this day when I see things. I try to go to the logical way of saying, maybe it's this, and I still do it. I mean, I've been doing this a long time. The first time, when I was a kid, I started seeing things as 3 years old. I see shadows in the kitchen, think it's my mom in there, and I go in the kitchen. My dog would be barking. I had a little puppy at the time, Cookie, which I actually wrote a story about in one of the Pets Paranormal book. It's called Tales of the Other Side. Tales, Tail, the other side. So, but Cookie used to bark, and she was a puppy at that time. We lived in Brooklyn, and she used to bark. I used to go in the kitchen, nothing's there, and I used to call my mom, and my mom would be like, "Hey, why? I'm doing the laundry. I'm doing this. Leave me alone. Why? I'm hungry." Little fat Italian kid looking for a little sandwich in the middle of the day. So, I started seeing stuff as a young kid. Yeah. And growing up, and I was a young kid in the 60s and 70s. And, as you're growing up, I had nobody to show me anything. And my mom believed what I seen and everything, but she always told me, don't say nothing, don't say nothing, don't say nothing, So I had nobody to, like nowadays I got people teaching us. I didn't have that. I thought I was crazy. I really thought I was losing my mind. I just dropped everything. I thought I was losing my mind. I thought I was just crazy. And, growing up as a young kid going into teenage years, and I'm seeing these things and I'm not allowed to talk about it. It really destroyed my self-esteem. I didn't think everybody was better than me. I always thought I was stupid or just weird or whatever, because, and then people, if you did bring it up to them, they're like, you're crazy. And especially in the 70s, hey, what drugs you on? Well, what are you doing? Hey, what drugs are you on? No, I'm not doing any drugs. I seen this thing. Yeah, sure. It doesn't. So people, we kept it to ourselves. So I had nobody to say anything to, back then. And then when I started, my teenage years, rebellion, like, I see my first full body apparition at the age of like 13, 14 years old, and I was with my friends, and we were in the 70s. Because one thing about Glendale in Queens over here, it's surrounded by 9 cemeteries. There's so many famous people buried in them, but, that's where we used to hang out, in the cemeteries. You want to go to the store in the next town, you walk to the cemetery. It doesn't matter what night. The cemeteries in Queens close at 4 o'clock. In all over. I go to these places upstate or everywhere else, and the gates are open. You can walk in any time. Over here, you can't. You know, they got police. They used to have helicopters going in there, chasing people out and everything. So I see my first full body with a group of my friends, and it was a woman standing by a grave, like praying. Her hair was blowing in the wind. She had red hair and with a white gown, and she was just standing by this grave. So I'm with my friends. I say, hey, look, check this out. And they're like, and they look, and there's nobody there. So that's why I got a little freaked out that night. I went home and stuff. But you know, that night, people like, and I told them what happened. They're like, oh yeah, sure. You believe in that? Yeah. And I lost friends. I lost friends that thought I was, you know, crazy or on drugs or doing whatever. So friends, if they can stick to you, stay with you, you know, doing things like that, they're not your friends, you know?
Wait a minute. What is going on right now?
I just lost things. What happened?
I don't. So Katie stepped away.
I lost everybody here.
So Daisy says, I know I'm an empath, and Maureen was the one who clarified that for me. Daisy, you have more than just empathy. Who says where? What am I missing? What is happening, guys? Am I missing something?
What happened?
I don't know. There's something going on in the chat.
I lost chat. How come I lost chat? What's going on?
Guys, what is happening? This is all going sideways.
What happened?
I don't see where, okay. A naughty list contestant, okay.
We were reading.
Am I missing some comments, or I don't see where someone said anything about women. Okay, we're not gonna, okay, you're good, keep going, but Lou, I don't see where you said anything. Counting backward from 10. Hi guys, hi new to the chat. Yes, I do try to help everybody with their stuff. All right, we're not going racist here.
What happened? Did I say something wrong?
I don't know. I don't know. You didn't. I don't know what's happening.
I Googled my dad.
I don't know what happened. This isn't going to go racist. It's not going to go against women. It's not going to go against anyone. So, okay, back to our regularly scheduled program. Everyone is allowed here. I don't know what happened, but we're not going to be racist. We're not going to be against women, against whatever. Thanks, Venus. I appreciate it. I don't know what happened, but I know that we're having trouble sharing the show from here. I don't think we can do that. Anyway, anybody have questions about what we do?
What happened?
I don't know. Something happened in the chat, which we didn't see, I guess, but.
That is nasty.
Hi, Iris.
Big sober. I'm trying to read this. I want to make sure I didn't say nothing wrong.
It wasn't you. It was something happened in the chat, but I don't tolerate this. So,
connect. We're dealing with a chat issue.
Daisy answered me that you told her that she was an empath. I replied with, she also told me some things. It's just confusing. Yeah, all of this is confusing. I think it is for everybody, but I do believe that everyone has abilities, but you have to kind of work on the abilities that you do have. And if anybody does have questions, you can always come to me, of course. Anybody have questions about what we do, like what we're talking about in the show? We're getting popular, I guess. People are just dropping in and talking to us about certain things.
Cool. I'm always down. I'm always ready to, if you get me on Facebook, to talk to anybody. You know, I'm just paranormal. You know, people have questions, and I mean, people just starting to spirits and stuff like that, or they just, have a question about something they've seen. When I used to work at the Javits Center in the city, people found out what I did. It was funny because a lot of people like, what do you do that for? What do you do that for? And then those are the same people that come back to me later on with the bad stories that they've been touched, they've seen their grandparent or something like that after they passed or whatever. So I'm always willing to talk to anybody about anything when it comes to paranormal. If I could help you, I will.
Mhm.
But I don't have all the answers. But what I know, I will help you with. I know Maureen's the same way. You want to, I'm more the paranormal person. She's more the spiritual type of person.
I'm kind of both. I mean, like I've always been interested in the paranormal, but I always hid who I was because I was an embarrassment to my family. And then all of a sudden one day I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm not doing this anymore. I am a witch. I am who I am. I was always kind of like a rebellious person, but I didn't, at one point, I was just kind of like, you know what? I'm not going to hide it anymore because you can't change who you are. And I always had abilities. When I became really sick, like my abilities started coming out more and more the sicker I became. And in 2016, it just kind of exploded. And I thought, I never had anybody to help me. I loved when I was younger, my Nana and her sisters, she had 4 sisters, they would watch like, Another World and Days of Our Lives and General Hospital and all the shows. But in the morning, they would watch the talk shows and Sylvia Brown would be on everything. And I would sit like this, and I would watch. But, they would watch and they would be talking about, is she fake? But one of the sisters, especially, she had this huge walk-in closet, and this was the funniest thing. And my cousins and my sister and I, we loved going to this particular sister's house, my Aunt Pat, and she actually had abilities, and she would only kind of talk about it with me. And I really connected with her a lot because we had the same interests. We always did crossword puzzles together, and I would get the wooden spoon across my fingers because I used red pen and she used pencil. And we made charcuterie trays together before they were the it thing to do. And I learned how to make salami roses and stuff. And if it wasn't rolled tight enough, I'd get the wooden spoon on my hand. And she had this enormous walk-in closet, and she had all of her Halloween decorations in there. So she had like skulls, and I always thought that they were real when I was little. So that was really cool to me. And she had these really beautiful paintings that were like, if you looked at it a certain way, it was one thing, but if you looked at it another way, it was another thing. So it was a really beautiful girl sitting in front of a vanity mirror if you looked one way, but if you looked another way, it was a skull. So she was definitely into that stuff. And like she always told me, don't worry, honey, when I die, I'm going to come to see you. And she's shown herself to me in so many different ways, which I really love that about her. And she told me how she played with Ouija boards when she was a kid, which like back then, I mean, that was in like, they were born in like the 1800, like 1918, somewhere around there. So like that was a huge no-no. And she said that there was like a ball of fire that kind of flew down the hall that she saw. And she told me that when her mom died, she was living in, I don't know if it was Alabama or Virginia. Her husband worked for IBM, and he made things for NASA. So they like moved around a lot, and she was pretty progressive. She was kind of cool. She said she was like making her bed, and when she leaned over, her nightgown had a little drop of blood over her heart, and the phone rang, and she knew that, so and so passed away or whatever. But she was like the coolest lady. She always had these stories for me, and she never doubted whatever. She always, stuck behind me, and she she called me her little witch. Like she was the one that kind of knew before everyone else knew. And she like she was the type of person who would be like, "Oh, today I'm going to go to swim class and then I'm going to go to lunch with Liz." And she kept saying this over and over and over again, and everybody was like, "Who's Liz?" It was Elizabeth Taylor. She always
Wow.
went with Liz Taylor, you know, which I loved about her. She was so, you know, unassuming. Like she wasn't cocky or arrogant or whatever, but she'd go to lunch with Liz after the Y. You know, like these were her things. Like, and she definitely had abilities. She would tell me all about these stories that she'd have. And she'd say, you know, I knew when the phone rang that my brother was going to die or my mom was going to die or whatever. So she was hot stuff. She was a model. She, you know, she almost died on St. Patrick's Day, and that was their big holiday because they were nothing but Irish, even though they were German and Dutch and you know, everything else.
Big mixture,
She
like a
was
lot
like
of people.
she was like the sexy Blanche Devereaux on the Golden Girls.
Yeah.
They were all one of the Golden Girls. So she was a cool cat. I loved her.
Something's happening again. We're
Is it
going to a PG rating for the show. Okay.
Typhoid Mary? There's somebody who's
That's a
just
cool name. I like that. Typhoon Mary. That's pretty cool.
yeah, but
Typhoon, the original Typhoon Mary actually died not too far from here on Roosevelt Island. The original Typhoon Mary. They couldn't find out why everybody was getting sick from her, so they actually abandoned her to an island over here, right? The island that's right between Manhattan and Queens. It's right underneath 59th Street Bridge.
really?
And it's yeah, and they actually confined her over there because they didn't know what to do with her, and they put her on this island, so she lived there her days. So
That's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, it's not too far from here.
Amy
So,
says she loves the
but
Golden Girls. Katie, I do too. We all of my Nana and all her sisters kind of each of them was like someone from the show. And I think
that's funny.
um Dorothy is a lot like me. I'm very like a dry sense of humor.
The Golden Girls, it's fun. Why I'm saying it's funny is because I told you, Maureen, that I get together people I know from 50 years ago, kids I grew up with and stuff. We have a group of us about said like almost up to 8, 9 of us, at times 10 of us, and we go together. We go out to eat once a month, and we have the bunch of the women there, so we call it the Golden Girls. So it's the Golden Girls dinner we go to,
Really?
So that's yeah, we go to the Golden Girls, and because we have a big chat at, between the group, and every time the holiday comes, you always find a thing like Merry Christmas, like from the Golden Girls or something like that, and
Yeah.
the women are like, "Stop it already!" And we the guys all think it's the funniest thing, so we call it the Golden Girls dinner.
That's cool. Katie said she has Golden Girls tarot cards. Oh, I got the Edgar Allan Poe tarot cards for Christmas. I'm so excited because I love Edgar Allan Poe. He's always been my favorite storyteller.
I have a book with all his stuff in it. I got from my mom, but the writing was too small. It's one of those big hard books. It looks like it looks like a Bible. Tell you the truth, that's how big it is. It has all his stories in there. Telltale Heart, Raven,
Yeah.
all the great, all the. I always liked him too. Matter of fact, I actually did upstate over here. There's a house that he actually owned, and they do weddings in it. It's big, and years ago I used to do back in the 80s and some of the 90s. My cousin, he does videos. But he owns a production company now. He's big right now, Bigfoot Productions. They do all kinds of commercials and stuff like that. But back then, he was just starting out. So he used to do weddings. And I used to help on the weddings. And back then, the video cameras were this big VHS camera with a cable from that VHS carrier of camera into a recorder, a separate recorder. That's how the cameras was back then.
Yeah.
And I used to have to record it. My cousin's like 6'2", something like that. And I used to walk behind him. I had my hand on his shoulder because, you know, I'm really tall. I'm a 5'8", you know. So I have my hand on his shoulder, following him around. And then the microphone, because we do the interviews, the microphone was plugged into that deck. So I would have to interview somebody. He'd be videotaping, and the cord, big, we call it the umbilical cord, because it was like this big cord connected to the camera and to the video, connected to the camera from the deck, and then in the deck we had the microphone to record. So it was big. Well, back then we were doing that building, and inside you were in where they had the reception and everything. You look up, the stairs that go up onto like different floors, and you know me, I'm keep on looking up, and I couldn't do no investigation there because you know you can't do it with a wedding going on, and especially if the people paying for it. Well, they're paying for the wedding, so it's not like I have to stay grounded with the wedding party, you know, with the videographers, you know. So I keep on looking up, and I keep on seeing somebody looking down from the top floors, and there's nobody up there. And I thought it was like the coolest thing. I'm like, oh, there's stuff here. I was like, I want to get back here. I want to get back here. So they went outside to do video out on the lawn there and stuff. And you look into the house, and you can see people, like somebody looking out of the top, and there's nobody up there. Matter of fact, that was all closed off to the public and closed off to anybody. So it was like, you could feel it. You could feel stuff there. That was the coolest thing. I'm like, I'm in that gal's pulse, his house. You know, this is like his summer home or something like that. I thought it was the coolest thing being there. You know.
Yeah, because there is a place in Philly that he lived in also, and I'm like, they have a gate, and I was constantly like, if I can slide in a little bit, maybe I can kind of like get through there. But no, I wasn't able to. Yeah, he's always been my favorite. I love that. Someone said, let's see, we got to go back a little bit. I named a feral cat that I trapped yesterday for TNR Betty. I love that name, Betty White. I loved her. I was so devastated when she died. Yes, Edgar Allan Poe tarot cards. I'm going to show those off next time. You should see some of the stuff I got for Christmas. It's like amazing. My husband and my daughter, they like, yes, that is true. It's a respectful chat. Rudeness is not tolerated. Some of the stuff that they got me is just amazing. I got one of those squishy, what are they called? They're like little pillows, but they're squishy. It's a bat.
Like plushies or something like that?
Yeah, kind of like that. When I was doing Boozy Bees, Wizarding Fall Festival, I fell in love with this vampire bat that hangs inside of a cage, and there's a candle, and I named him Rolf. They got me that for Christmas without me knowing. Rolf. So his name is Rolf. Our black cat that lives in the basement, Mina, I named her Mina Marie Harker after Dracula's mistress. She's in love with him too, so I think she claimed him. Let's see, how to give a request to this live for a reading. I don't think we're going to be doing readings here, but if anybody's interested, go to ALILWITCHY on Facebook and request a reading from me, or you can go to my website at www.ALILWITCHY.com, and I'd be happy to do readings. Let's see, where are we at? Yes, they do. Sophia was a killer. A witch killed my friend. I highly doubt that. I know I can always rely on Zach to get me things to help me with the craft. I love how you got those gifts, Daisy. That's awesome. Daisy has a really cool set of stuff that she got for Christmas also. Oh, shit, I lost the comments. Sorry for my language.
One of my toys.
What is
Get
that?
them back in the camera. Recorder.
Ooh, I love it.
I got two of these. I got a red one and a black one, and then I got a more of an advanced one for matter of fact, it's back here somewhere. I think this is it right here. Yeah, you can't really see it. It's on a tripod, more advanced. It's more for like backup when you do videos, and you put that on. So you back up. You on your camera, you're going to get audio, but you get a second video, so you have a backup. Because sometimes something might go wrong with your camera or something, so you always have backup on your audio. So that helps out. Toys. My parrot toys, I call them.
I don't think I missed anything. Oh, wait, I did miss something. Oofy asked, are colors relevant when doing the work you do? Yes. I found all of a sudden I was able to see energy, and there was like the shape of a body on the ceiling in my hallway. And it was green and pink. And it was an ascended master. And the pink and the green meant psychic education and also teaching. So I believe that he or she showed up to continue my education with what I was doing. I always look for colors, numbers, those types of things to see what is happening at the time. I don't know. What do you think, Anthony? Do you look for colors and things like that to see if it means something?
Doing investigation stuff?
Yeah.
Not really. But I know some people read auras. So sometimes, with the aura, certain colors on the auras mean certain feelings or certain things. And if you're on an investigation and matter of fact, I don't know if it was the aura or what, but I have a thermal camera, and there's this woman that was doing a reading, and it was interesting on the thermal camera because she had around her like blue and yellow, and she was all red, because the red is the heat, and blue and yellow is, it's like the heat coming. Yellow is like the heat coming from it, and then the blue. But it was weird because the blue started circling her. It blocked out all the red, and then all of a sudden it went up in the air. And I was actually, the person she was reading was in front of her, and it went up in the air, and it covered the person she was reading. Weird. And then came back to her. I'm like, that is weird, because usually if the person's sitting still, both people sitting still, and that blue color goes up and covers the person there and then comes back, that's not what it's supposed to do.
Right.
So to me, that was kind of interesting. Maybe, I don't know if that had to do with any colors, with, because the thermo is pretty much, red, pink, yellow, blue, or dark blue, or black. That's got to do with the different color. But I was wondering if that was maybe the person's aura coming off her. And it was reading. It was reading, the camera was reading not the color, but the energy from it going on the person that was doing the reading. It went over to the person and then came back to them. So maybe that's how they connected. And that was interesting, because I thought it was interesting because maybe that's how when you do your reading, that could be happening. You don't know because you don't actually see it unless it's caught.
For me, I connect to, first of all, I ground myself and I protect myself, but then I also connect myself from the person who's sitting with me. So it's a more personal reading by connecting my spinal cord to their spinal cord. So I'm wondering if that was showing the connection to the person, or it could have been an attachment. It could also be and it was blue.
Well, the blue is the actual reading. Like I say, the color I'm not sure if it was the color, but what I'm thinking, because I don't know what the aura was, the color of the aura that the person doing the reading.
It
But
could have been that the person was channeling a spirit, or I didn't know that I was capable of doing this, but I started doing this about 2.5 years ago. I'm able, and I think I mentioned this once before, I'm able to body jump or mind jump a person. Like if someone needs to be calm and they're not capable of calming themselves down, I can slow their, like I can kind of almost jump inside of them and slow down their blood pressure and their heart rate and do it for them. So maybe they were doing that without even realizing it. Goofy's saying infrared equals heat equals colors below human sight. And color is a frequency band of energy. The thermal imager translates colors for the human range, which is true because like animals, for instance, the cats are the only ones that can see the purple spectrum. Dogs can't, but cats can. And I always say that cats are super, super intelligent, but they don't want to have anything to do with people, and they don't want to have anything to do with people. But they can see things way better than we ever could. So wouldn't it be cool if we could put a cat on a leash and walk it through a building when we're doing an investigation? Like dogs they'll allow that, but cats never will. They just don't.
Listen, I like to see you put a cat on a leash and lead it around. The cat would just fall right there and just stay there. Oh, you would have to follow the cat.
My cat, my black cat, Bishop, he's named after Bridget Bishop, the first witch that was ever executed due to witchery. He would totally let me lead him around on a leash. Like he follows me, he walks around my feet. He's more like a dog. The other cats in this house, one is super timid. One thinks it's a circus all the time. One doesn't leave the basement. She's a cellar dweller. She's just like a vampire. Like one doesn't leave a bed. So he would totally do it. I love cats too. I would have 1 million cats before I have any more dogs. The dogs in this house, one is like Snoop Dogg. He barely opens his eyes and he has this look on his face like he's done for the day. Another one is also on crack and it's like a circus all the time. And the other one is kind of like in between the two.
Yeah. Well, Katie said that your cat will eat you if you die. Katie, yeah. So yeah. Katie, listen.
I have 7 cats.
Don't die. The cats will eat you. Katie has like a whole what do you call it? Community of cats that live outside her house.
She has an army of cats, just like we do.
Yeah, she has like a whole thing of cats that she feeds.
So we have 7 cats, 3 dogs, and a horse, and all of them are rescues except for even the horse, except for one of the dogs.
Yeah. Well, I have my cat. We had to put it down just recently. My wife's still upset about it, and she received cancer in the mouth, and she was too old to go through all the stuff. So the doctor, said, best if you put it down because they would have to pull the teeth out and then cut half the jaw out and everything. So she was about 16 years old. So the cat was up there in age.
We're never going to be without animals the way we're going.
Yeah. At my age now, it's like I want to be able to, because I have a dog, I got a little dachshund, and I got a parrot that talks and he screams my wife's name all the time. Screams my wife's name. It's great. It's great. He screams my wife's name is Laura. The name's Laura, and he screams her name in my voice, Laura, Laura, and she came home one time with a friend, and I was at work at that time, and the bird's going, Laura, Laura, because that means he wants to eat. He's calling her to feed him. Said, Laura, Laura, and the woman's like, Laura, I think Anthony's home. He's calling you. He's in the room or something. And she's like, no, that's the bird. You know, I got to feed this thing all the time. Whatever I eat, he has to eat. The bird is 26 years old, and he's African gray. He should be able to supposed to live till like he's 80 years old. So, you know.
If we had a parrot, it would have the filthiest mouth on the planet.
Well, mine. When I don't give him something, he has something to say to me. So he's just keeping his PG-13. So I'm not going to say what he says to me. But he calls me the F word.
I know
the F word with ER at the end.
Yeah, I figured so much. Ours would have the filthiest mouth just for the simple fact that that's just how things happen in this house. Not because we have filthy mouths. It's just the way it would happen because we have the craziest animals. We have the craziest house. The craziest stuff happens here. It would just be our luck. Like, you know how we had stroller baby? That's what Kayla calls Anubis. Stroller baby last year at Gettysburg. He was supposed to not get any bigger than 30 pounds. He's probably doubled that already. He's eaten candles. He brought me a bottle of essential oils with no lid and it was gone. So he probably drank it. He stole a bottle of the throat spray and he drank probably a third of it and he was passed out for like a day and a half. He's not dead yet. It's like the most, I don't know, like I've found stuff. He eats underwear, bras. He ate part of a couch. This is like the craziest house I've ever been in my life. He called you Fred. No, he called him the F word with ER at the end.
He doesn't call me Fred.
No, that would be good.
It starts with an F, has a couple of letters in between, and there's ER at the end.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sure
my son just got a dog. My son got a dog. It's a shepherd. It's what do you call it? Oh, wow.
What color is it?
It's black and white. It's a shepherd, but it's one that's like a sheepdog type. It's like a collie looking dog.
Like an Australian
Australian shepherd. Australian shepherd. That's what it is. And we call it I call it my grandpup. What happened was like almost the first couple of months that he got the dog, he would go to work, but he didn't want to leave the dog home because I was still training it. So she didn't want to leave the dog by herself. So I used to go there and dog sit every day for like a month. And so the dog's so attached to me now. So every time the dog sees me, and the dog's about 40, 50 pounds now, and she thinks she's a lap dog.
That's how
and she's continuing, and she's not even to her full weight yet. So every time I go there, she jumps on me, and I sit down. I have to give a big hug to scratch her neck and everything, and she, so and when he goes away, we dog sit and everything. So she's like a big member of the family too. So
yeah.
Well, I mean, after my dog, because my dog's just turned, it's gonna be 14 years old, and she's not doing too good, and she's has lumps on her stomach, and they said she's too old for stuff too. So what happens is I want no more animals after that, no more dogs or cats after that, because I want to start, I'm retired now. I want to start going places, and you can't always take dogs with you, or your pets. Yeah. I have nobody to watch them. So
you can always find places that are animal friendly like we do, and then you have to take all of them with you in the car and then stop and then make sure that they have cheeseburgers, and one is lactose intolerant. Get a stroller for them so you could take them to Gettysburg Battlefield Bash. I don't know what I'm going to do with him this year because he doesn't fit in a stroller and he's terrified of people.
See, that's why, I mean, I don't have nobody to watch my dog. And I have a cooperative over here in Queens. It's not big, it's not small, it's nice size, but you can't leave your dog home by itself, like that. And my dog, it's a dachshund, so she's only like 10 pounds, small little thing, perfect for an apartment, But we did take it to Gettysburg because that the hotel in town, the 1863 hotel that's in the middle of the town, right on Baltimore Avenue. You could bring dogs there. They actually, it's like extra $10, and you can bring your dog there. So that's what we did a couple times when we went to Gettysburg. We brought her with us, and we put her in the hotel room. And then we went out. Then of course, we took her with us. But you can't really go to restaurants with a dog,
We went to, what was it called? The Gettysburger, and we ate outside, and they brought us bowls, and we ordered a cheeseburger, and they split it, and they were great.
Yeah, they get taken care of better than us,
Well, he's going to be sitting on your lap at the bash, so when I have to go to the metaphysical panel to speak, he could be your new best friend. But he's terrified, so you're going to have to cover his head.
Okay. We gave him a mask or something,
Oofy says, let's not call them pets. Let's call them companion species.
Yeah.
I just call them crazy because they are crazy. It's difficult to sleep with like 8 animals in bed with you. I have the black cat Bishop who sleeps on my back. I have like a pillow here and then a pillow here, and he sleeps up here. And then that crazy animal, he starts with us, and then he sleeps on a cooling pad on the floor because he pants like a maniac. And then we have the other 2 dogs who sleep this way. So I'm sleeping on like the edge of the bed, hanging on for dear life. And then the other dog is my husband's cuddle pal. Ownership should not be a consideration with regard to companion species, more like responsible part. They are, well, they own us, and we took responsibility. So we do everything we can to make them comfortable, including we don't eat until they eat, and they get like filet mignon flavored stuff, and we eat ramen noodles.
Yeah, that sounds like about right.
Yes. So where is your, I want to ask you this, where was your favorite place to investigate that you've ever been?
Well, this year was Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum in West Virginia. That was an awesome location, really. That's this year, but my favorite one of all times is Hinsdale House in Hinsdale, New York, which I'll be going back there April 15th. We're going there April 15th, but April 14th, I'm going to be doing a show at the Ritz Theater. We're going to be doing the show there. They're going to show up my artwork. Me and Richard, I forgot his
Michelle.
Yeah, Michelle.
Yeah. So if anybody didn't know,
they're gonna show my artwork there for when I go investigations and I see things, I can't get everything on film, but since I can draw, I actually draw spirits that I've seen on locations. I'll give you full detail on everything because I see the whole thing, and when I see a spirit staying in the corner, whatever it might be, it's like I can tell you from what color hair, color eyes, everything down to their if they have feet, shoes on, or whatever. I can tell you everything. It's to me, and every time I explain, people ask me. I explain it like it's like a copy machine, how the lights go, the lights go down and they copy the paper and it scans it back and forth. So that's how I see things. I see it with my third eye, and I see the thing forming in front of me, and I scan it down, and then I actually draw it for later time or whatever. And so now they're gonna start showing my artwork, which I thought was pretty cool. I hid it for years. I done it so many years. And remember, I come from a different time where people thought I was nuts when I did all this stuff. So I still got a lot of stuff. Even sharing my evidence and stuff, I still got a little bit of I don't know, like people. I don't care what people think of me. I just don't want it there because I lose my temper
Credibility.
and I get mad at people for disrespecting me. You know,
Yeah.
so that's one thing I don't like. You know, don't disrespect what I believe in and what I do. You know, because I won't do it to you.
I always said that too. Like, you can call me whatever you want. Don't call me stupid or unintelligent, and don't make fun of what I do for a living because I'm really good at it. That's like, you can call me a bitch, call me a whore, call me whatever you want, but don't ever make fun of my work, no matter what I'm doing at that time. And don't ever call me stupid. And don't ever like disrespect my family or my friends, the people I love, because I will rip your face off.
Yeah. I even drew some of the stuff I seen as a kid too.
Really?
So, yeah. I mean, it's weird because I'll be sitting there all of a sudden I just like think of something happened to me when I was a kid. You know, so spirit, whatever I seen, and I'll start drawing it.
Yeah.
And I'll draw it. You know, I'll get a piece of paper out and draw it down, which I've done a bunch of different things since I was. I even drew the scene of when I seen something when I was 3 years old, with my dog and me sitting there and everything. So yeah, I never really pursued my drawing, so this is cool.
I think a lot of people would probably be really shocked by that you are an artist. What kind of medium do you use? Just like pencils? Do you use colored pencils? Do you use watercolors?
Pencils. No, I sketch. I'm a sketcher. I like sketching and shading.
I wish I was able to draw better. I'm not great at drawing people or things like that. I'm good at drawing buildings, like architecture, and I could draw like trees and flowers and things like that. I've always been good at drawing things like that, but I can't draw people or what I like. I would never be able to draw what I see. But interestingly enough, Dalen from the Ghost Brothers, he has his own YouTube now, and he was showing a tomb, which was really, really beautiful, and it has stained glass in it, and he kind of like zoomed in to the inside of it. And even though the tomb itself was really beautiful, and I commented about how beautiful the tomb was, so it must have belonged to someone who was extremely wealthy, because I don't know anyone who would put stained glass on a tomb. It was a beautiful architecture, but when he zoomed in on the inside, it made me feel extremely ill. And in the back left corner in the dark was what looked to me like kind of like Slender Man without clothing, no hat, but
really,
it had jagged, sharp teeth. And when I commented on that, he liked it. I don't think people tend to see things like that, and it's very rare that I do see that type of figure. I mean, when I was watching like the Dead Files, Amy Allen would see a lot of like, it's an 8-headed octopus with spider legs and whatever. And I think a lot of people made fun of her for that, but I don't think people understand that there are things out there that kind of look like that, but they don't show themselves like that all the time. They do look like that, and I think a lot of people think that she's a complete fool for saying those things. I think they do look like that. They show themselves in such a way to scare people, but
that's it. Yes.
You may not always see them in that fashion. They try to make themselves look scarier. They try to, that might be another way that they show themselves. They might be, a 40-year-old man with a baseball hat, they just change what they look like because they can change themselves a million times. Just like someone may have died at the age of 70, but they want to look like an 8-year-old boy. That's, they always show what they wanted to look like. If they're ornery and they're angry and they whatever, or maybe they're negative and that's just how they show themselves. Like, I think a lot of people laugh at that and they're like, oh, well, that sounds ridiculous. She sounds like a complete kook. She's not a complete kook. She's telling people what she saw it as. That might be what it shows itself to her as, because it's wanting her out, or it's wanting those people out of that house. It's not always that.
I feel that they come to you in different forms. Like, if they want to get close to you, they'll come to you like a little girl or something that you don't feel, you don't get intimidated by, or something you might be afraid of. You're not going to be if you see a little girl come up to you in the street, you're not going to say, what do you want? You'll be like, hello, little girl and stuff. So that's how they get close to you. And then they kind of reveal themselves later on as something else, So if they come to you right away as like the octopus looking thing or whatever, because that's the figure they want you to see, because if you see something that's looking like an octopus coming, you're going to be afraid. So they will just try and scare you. Or they might, if his spirit's there, like of a child, he might come to you as like a big shadow, or a big man or something, because he's afraid of you. So if he feels that he shows you that he's bigger than you, or you're going to be afraid of that. So that's why sometimes spirits come to you in different forms for different reasons. If they want to get closer to you, they come to you something less intimidating. If they don't want you near them, they'll come to you with something that's more intimidating to you, that they know that you may be backing away from. So it's just like spirits can do that.
When you catch a dog or a cat off guard, like, they puff themselves up to be bigger. Like they look like this cute, tiny little kitten or a little puppy, but then they get the bristly mohawk or the big puffy tail, and they, they're hissing or they're foaming at the mouth to scare the crap out of you. That's not typically how they look, just like in the Bible, angels looked like, several wheels put together with tons of eyes going around them. Well, they're not going to show up to you to look like that. They're going to, if they showed up like that, you'd be like, out the window, I'm gone. They're going to show up as, the most beautiful, supermodel on the planet. That's what we were talking about that one night when we talked about how, Archangel Michael showed up to me, or didn't he show up to you? Or did he show up to
Archangel?
Our guest, yeah. Brett. He showed up to Brett in a different way. He showed up to me like, Magic Mike, and he showed up to Brett like what we would think an archangel would look like. If he showed up to me like a set of wheels with revolving eyeballs, I'd probably be like, did I do drugs last night? Brett sees it in a different way, because he's probably
my medication is mixing up something. I don't know. It's messing my head up.
I must have been on looking for meth last night. Of course he's going to show up to me as like
I shouldn't have wine with my my medication.
Or whatever the hell it was.
I mean, to me, because the way I was brought up and stuff, is like an archangel would come with big white wings and armor, chest armor, with a spear or something like that. That's that's how we would, because the angels and stuff like that, and because we have a lot of saints, and I am named after Saint Anthony, and Saint Anthony was one who took care of Jesus. Well, that's his thing, and really wasn't in history, but we have saints, and everything has like I said, if I seen an archangel, I would say, wow, look at some big thing that's lit up and shiny with wings, and
well, mine, I mean, he looked like Magic Mike, but when he opened his wings, it was like sharp, knives. It was made out, like his wings were made out of these big, huge, sharp knives.
Okay.
Good night, Daisy. Thanks for joining us. Angels do not have wings. That is someone's vision or personal idea. I think because you have, yeah, well, like I said, with the angels with the revolving eyeballs on wheels, that's definitely something. I think cherubs, you know, we always thought that they had the big chunky cheeks, they had the swaddled diaper, and they had the, you know, the bows and arrows. I think it's all a depiction of whatever we thought and was presented to us at some point. I don't know if this is correct or not, but when I had my attunement, when I did my, you know, my Reiki studies, I had my, I call them watchers. And when I looked it up later, watchers are actually demons, but they're not demons. They've always assisted me from when I was really little, and they stood around my bed. These look like alien type beings with cloaks, and they have these big, huge wings. And I started putting something together that, like, I really think that angels and aliens kind of like morphed into one thing. So I don't know, you know, we don't really know what's out there. Is there a God? Is it a Buddha, an Allah, whatever? Is it Mother Nature? Is it Alanis Morissette? Is it, you know, an alien? We have no idea. Well, she played God in Dogma, so, you know, maybe it's true. We don't know. But then again, Chris Rock was like the 13th apostle. So I don't know. If anybody hasn't seen the movie Dogma, watch it. It's freaking hysterical and great. And it gives you like another perspective on things completely. But like, who's to say that there isn't like an alien god out there or something like Anunnaki, or like, I don't know, but maybe aliens do have wings, and I vote for Alanis as well. I love the movie Dogma. It's the best. And I think that Loki was hysterical. But maybe aliens do have wings. Maybe they are part angel. Maybe they are angels. We have no clue, because nothing is like, I know when Katie said that she's scientific by nature, I am. And it's really weird being a psychic medium and people question that and say I'm fake and I'm a liar and whatever. It's real. Like, I'm still like, I can't believe that I'm getting this information. And I have these really difficult names that come to me, and I bring something up to someone and they're like, that's spot on. I know exactly who, that's my grandmother, or that's my aunt, or that's my mom, or that's whomever. But it's really hard to still believe that I have this coming out of my mouth, because I am so scientific. I do believe in evolution. I'm a huge fan of archaeology. I wanted to be an archaeologist when I was a kid. I don't know. It's really hard to believe in a supreme being when you can't touch it, feel it, talk to it in front, like somebody doesn't come down and stand in front of you. And I know, Anthony, that you're religious. That's what makes us a great team, I think, because we don't have the same beliefs, so we can bounce stuff off of each other. And I love the fact that we have guests.
I believe in evolution and all that stuff. I believe in science. You know, you know, I believe in God, but I'm not like church going every week. You know, so I believe in God and stuff. But I believe evolution. You know, and everything. I'm a big science. I love science. You know, I got a degree in science also.
Yeah.
So, you know, I believe in science and all that stuff too. You know, I believe in God. I mean, the Old Testament, you know, Adam and Eve and everything like that. I'm not going to knock anything, but, you know, there's my questions there too. But I'm very strong with science. I believe in a lot of that stuff. You know, look, all the stuff I use on investigations came out of some sort of science, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, my audio recorders, my equipment, night vision cameras. Where did that come from? You know, somebody sat down and some scientist or engineer or, you know, figured, hey, let's try something here and let's do it this way. You know, everything comes from science somewhere. You know, the numbers and everything like that. It's all science. So I believe in God, and I believe, and I will, I still say my prayers and everything, but um, but I believe in all that stuff with science and stuff. Katie, she's very scientific. I mean, look at the boxes she builds.
Yeah.
Her and Steve. I mean, the stuff that she builds is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So she's very scientific.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I believe in God. But I go both with that. I believe what I believe. I believe there's somebody there that that's some sort of God up in heaven, whatever. But some supreme being that. Where do we come from and stuff like that? How did it start? Even with the dinosaurs, how did those start? How did it? I know evolution. Where the amoebas coming out of the water and start walking the land and all that stuff, and I believe in all that, and I studied all that too.
Well,
biology and all that stuff.
How is it that humans can think of things that they cannot sense or perceive? Katie said, I grew up with an atheist father. I can't personify God, but I do think that there is intelligent design on some capacity. And Ron said, what do you think of some things the church says do not do, but you see them using some of the things in the Bible? And Katie says, upbringing is huge in regards to religion and beliefs. And I believe that because my father is Protestant and he's English, and my mother was Catholic and she was Irish mostly. And my mother thought that I was just lazy and didn't want to get up for church. But even when I was little, I remember feeling like I didn't belong in a church. We had so many dinner fights about like the Big Bang Theory and evolution. And she was a teacher and she believed that there was a God. And I said, if there is a God, how do you believe that when you haven't seen something? Or she said, it's just my faith and it's what I believe in. And I said, well, why? Who proved that to you? Do you it's just instilled in you because someone told you to do that. So if someone told you to jump off of a bridge because you'll probably survive, are you going to do that? Because I know for a fact that you instilled in me that would be stupid. So where's, and she's like, this is not the Scopes monkey trial, attorney, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you know what? This is ridiculous. And she's like, go to your room. And I said, I'm 27. You can't send me to my room. And I actually got into a Catholic college because of the essay I wrote about the Big Bang Theory. You're not proud of me for having a mind of my own and being independent. Like, this is ridiculous. And I went to a public school. Let's just say I left there in the middle of November to go to a Catholic school because that was the only option that I had. There's a story behind it, and it's not the best one. I had to leave. I wound up in Catholic school, and then I wound up going to a Catholic college, which, I mean, like, you don't really, it's not like you have to say prayers and, whatever. But, and then I went to another college that was like a state school. So it was strange going from a public school all my life to a Catholic high school. They really push it on you. Like you don't get the ability to say, well, this is how I feel, because they're like, come here, I'm going to take this ruler and show you this is what it is. She said, my atheist father believed in a greater consciousness before he died, and my EEG gizmo is printing a message as I typed this. My mother came back after she came as a hologram, but then she came back later and she actually said to me, I'm so sorry for what I said to you. I was wrong. And she, like the way she said it, she's like, I was wrong and you were right. And this is so difficult for me to say to you. I will actually admit that, and I'll come to visit. And I was like, wow, that took a lot. So she comes to visit. She said the message was slapjack stubs. What is that?
what she has is that, and when we were at the Ritz Theater, I tried it. It's a thing she puts on your head,
Oh, the
and
gum machine?
it's no. She actually designed this. She calls it the EEG gizmo, and she puts it on your head, and the thing, and it actually, you know, as you concentrate, it doesn't just do it anytime. You just when I did it, I relaxed and everything, and it start getting it starts telling you your mood and stuff like that, and it starts reading stuff, and it has a printout. It comes out. So it's pretty cool.
They use those, like I had to have one of those done for seizures. Is that the same type of thing, Katie? And what is slapjack stubs?
That's probably what was read on the message.
She said, I had to fix it. The SD card barfed, measures brain waves. Okay, gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it measures the brain waves, and it has a readout. But it tells you, your brain waves and everything. Mine was all zero, so mine didn't. It was just a straight line across. Brain dead.
Okay, Ufi wants to know, Katie, what do you use for electrodes? And so, how many people have you used this on? And have you used
the first?
Well, that's sad if it came up as zeros. That's a long conversation.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. It did come up with waves and stuff, and I was the first one she used it on.
Katie, we need to have you on this show because this is a lot of typing for you. Mind.
Yeah, Katie. I'd like to have Katie. I have Katie on the show one time. Katie, want to be on one time?
Yeah, I would love
that. Set it up.
So, I have so many questions now. Is it different when you have someone who is psychic as someone compared to who isn't psychic? And what does it show?
I don't know if she's tried it yet on the psychic, but the night when I did it, then afterwards, a bunch of other people. We're at the Ritz Theater. She was one of the VIPs with me and her husband Steve, and what do you call it? And we did it, and then after that, a bunch of other people did it too. After they wanted to put it on my head first, just in case the thing went short circuited or something. So I was a guinea pig.
That's interesting.
But it worked good. I was doing it when Ron was doing his radio stuff, and things were coming up. I couldn't read it because I was doing the thing, and the thing just kept on printing. So it's pretty interesting. I mean, she comes up with a lot of stuff. This woman.
We fabricated silver chlorine or silver chloride out of dimes once, and they worked. And Katie said, "Sure, I have bad eczema face problem right now, so I will need to be later. Definitely needs more testing." So we have people booked we have January 19th booked at this point. So whenever you're ready, Katie, we are super stoked to have you. We would love to see you. I'm really excited about that. I would love to see how this works. And
I'll get in contact with Katie.
Yeah.
We talk. Yeah.
Talk.
Have you on. And then you could put your Katie, you could put it on and show us how it works too on the air.
That would be awesome. Katie, where are you located?
She's in Jersey, South Jersey.
Ooh, so you're close. I would love to meet you. We have a lot in common. We have the same amount of cats. We're into the same stuff. Oh, Ufi says maybe show the gizmo on the show. Yeah, that would be cool.
Definitely.
You could try it on Steve if he's home. Or Steve could try it on you, or you can reverse. I don't know if he's home when you're home.
Oh, Katie, make a smaller version and try it on one of your cats.
Oh yeah, that would be fun. if they don't lash out and grab you. New Jersey. Oh yeah.
John. Yeah, they're nice. They're nice. It's funny because here we go again. I'm going to bring up Ron Lourdes. Ron was buying a box from Steve. One of the boxes that Steve made. So we went down to the shore to meet them, and we're sitting at the table, and it's like the first time I'm meeting her and Steve, and we're sitting there, we're ordering. Then I start bringing up a thing about Chrysler Mansion and how I was there 10 years ago, and she goes, I was there too. I'm like, really? I pulled out an old picture of the group that was there. He's in it. It was like 10 years ago, we investigated together and we didn't even know it. Yeah, and then we lost track all those years afterwards. And then here we are, Ron's buying a radio, and Steve's the one making the radio. So I thought that was the coolest thing, And so we've been friends since again, And I met Katie that way too. But they're great people to really know and stuff. Very smart people. Sometimes they're too smart. I feel like they're a total dipshit around them, but
The Entity Voices people are probably some of the best people I've ever met. And actually, it's weird because when I went to the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash, I was with my husband and Floof, we had him in the stroller, and we were like, so we didn't have a table. I wanted to go to network, and it was crazy because that was probably the best time I've ever had networking with people. The moment we walked in, first we met Batman and and his wife and daughter. And then the moment we walked in, we met Chris Theron and John Ruggiero, and we met Glider. Then we met Mary Jo. And right before that, like out in the hallway, before we could even walk through the door, we met Pam, Barry, and Steve. And like the dog was like a magnet for everybody. But we met Entity Voices and Southern, and
you were by my table because they were all by me.
Well, no, because we met them out in the hallway first. So we met.
Oh, you met them in the hallway. Okay.
And Lourdes, and Ron wasn't with them at the time.
He was at the table.
Lourdes had this magnetic energy. Like I was super drawn to her, and Carrie Hopper and Laura, and they were all together in the hallway, and like they were like, "Oh my God, it's so nice to meet you! Hug, hug, hug!" Like they're like the sweetest, kindest, nicest people. And we kept coming back around to them. It was like we were supposed to meet them that day. And then, we met so many people that day. And then we found them again the second day. And like we just kept running into them. And then, Kayla and Dom. And the last day, we were only there for a short amount of time. And that was when I met you. With the Maggie thing. And Pam, I went over to Pam and I was talking to her about possibly either getting a table or doing a talk, and she was like, well, I'd love to have you on the metaphysical panel. And I was like, you got it. And we sat out in the hallway on the floor and talked to Kayla and Dom for a long time. And I was like, we have to come back next year. These are my people. This is my tribe. This is like, these people are my soulmates. And then I run into you again. And who would have ever thought that we would be work spouses?
Yeah. Work spouses. Oh, I can't afford one wife. I don't need a second one.
I told you don't have to pay for anything. We're just like on screen. You don't even have to see each other besides on screen.
Yeah. And then I buy a piece of property not too far from you.
Yeah.
How odd is that? I didn't know you lived out there. I buy a piece of property of the Poconos, and you're like, oh, I'm only 10 minutes from there. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, like a half an hour.
A half an hour, whatever.
I drive past you almost every day to go to work.
That's wild, But I mean, that's why I started doing Paracons back in 2008 or 2007, something like that. I started doing Paracon. I did East Coast Paracon with Joe. I did a couple with Joe Hawk, the Paracons, the East Coast Paracons,
He lives
and
like
then
5 minutes from me.
I do the Rochester one. Of Gettysburg. I've been there for like the last 4 years now. We're
I've
doing
probably
them.
been to the last 2 or 3.
Yeah, and now I'm hopefully I put an application. I want to get Penhurst. Penhurst is having a Paracon, so I'm trying to get that one, and hopefully I could get into. Well, definitely going to be Gettysburg this year, and hopefully Massachusetts. They got the Paracon also back in November, so I got to talk to that. See if I get in there.
I'd like to go to as many as possible. The one in Penhurst would be awesome. Katie, I don't know where you live, but I was talking to my husband about going to Wildwood Crest this year. And then, because we like to go to Key West, but we want our son and future daughter-in-law and grandkids to come with us to Key West next year. So we wanted to go someplace a little bit lower, like low key this year. So we liked Wildwood Crest. We love it there. I don't know how far you are.
Yeah. I mean, they're not that bad.
Who, the Holtes?
Yeah, the Holtes. They're not that big. They're not that far. Yeah. Yeah. Well, for me, everybody's far because I have the George Washington Bridge and everything else. It's crazy.
You're not far from me.
Yeah, it's far from you, but it's traffic. It's like a moving traffic. Over here, it's everything's a parking lot. Everything's a parking line. You know, Tribal Bridge or the Throgs Neck or whatever I go over. You know, Verrazano. Everything I get into like a parking lot.
If I went to Hoboken, we can just take a boat to you.
Yeah.
Oh, Senya said she'd go to Penhurst. She's been there.
Yeah. Who?
Senya.
Oh, okay. Because I don't see all the comments. Yeah, I've been to Penhurst also. Penhurst is excellent. It's a wild place. That's why I met Mary Jo in Penhurst.
I like Eastern State Pen. That's my place. That's
Where?
In my hood. Eastern State Pen in Philly.
Yeah, but they don't do private investigations there no more. So it's just tours.
I think if you become a member, I think they would. Ron said he's 25 hours away from everyone. He's in one of those flyover states, as we call it.
Yeah. But yeah, Penhurst is wild. As a matter of fact, I drew a picture of Penhurst. I seen a child naked in the corner crying.
Terrible.
So a little boy. It's horrible.
Why don't people, like, if, say I went in, I think I would go in not just to investigate, but why aren't these people crossing anyone over?
I don't know. I mean, the spirit will want to have to be crossed over. You can't just cross. If a spirit doesn't want to get crossed over, you got to have a big fight there, you know?
But,
so maybe, so some of them, I don't think half of them even know what's going on. You man, they're mentally disturbed, they're mentally challenged people that actually died in these locations. And they were dropped off as infants and they were 80 years old, you know? Their whole life in these places. So that's all they know. They're not taught religion. They're not taught you. If you want to cross somebody over, they got to understand what you're doing too. You know, they don't understand nothing but what they know. Their whole life they spent in these four walls. It's all they know. It's all they know. They don't know about crossing over or nothing. You just say, oh, you got to cross over. They're like, what the hell are you talking about? This is where I belong. You know,
the way it gets done though. Like when I talk to someone who needs to be crossed over, I tell them that there's no more pain or hurt or anger or frustration or, you know, in that case, there's no more beatings or there's no more, like if someone has family, your family's waiting for you on the other side and they're waiting with love and open arms and there's no shame, there's no more guilt, there's no more rage, there's no more whatever.
Yeah, but they don't know that. I mean, if they're brought up and they got the whole life, like I said, these people, they don't know family. Their family is, if maybe their nurse or somebody, the doctor, or somebody that's there, maybe one of the patients, another patient, or in jail maybe. But in a case like this in Penhurst, they don't know.
Right.
You know what
So
I'm saying? They have no idea what crossing over is.
right.
And you can say, oh, there's a place and there's family. They don't know what family is because they've been here. Their family dropped them off because their family's so embarrassed of them that they don't want to be with their family.
Right. So then you would hold their hand and you would talk to them calmly with love, because they don't have that, and say, I'm going to walk with you and hold your hand. I had to do that to the last person and say, I'm going to walk with you and hold your hand and go right to the end with you and see that beautiful warm light. There's no more pain there. There's no more suffering. There's no more hurt. There's no more whatever. And think of what it would be like to be that person, because now you're putting yourself in that perspective, and walk them to that point and have them go there. Maybe they don't want to go. Maybe they know no other thing but where they're at. And maybe they want to stay there, but give them the option.
Yeah. Well, in a place like Penhurst, it'll take you like 30 years to cross everybody over.
But every time you're there and you get to do that, you're crossing over the people who had no option before. Every time I watch a show,
Nobody had option.
we're just here to investigate. Well, why aren't you there to help the people? You're not giving them that choice. You're not giving them the ability to go to the other side or to be with, like, they may have been left there by their family because their family didn't know what else to do with them. Maybe they were too big for their mother to handle, so they were able to get care there, and maybe their mother is waiting for them on the other side, or maybe their family wasn't able to afford the care, so they left them with the state, and their family is waiting for them on the other side, and they do love them. I mean, it's not always the case where they just drop them off on somebody's doorstep because they were embarrassed. That might not always be the case.
I mean, the majority of the case was like that because there were a lot of them. Because even when I went to Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, it was the same thing. They just dropped people off there, and some of the people that dropped off there didn't even have mental health problems. If a kid, there's a list of stuff if people just Google of a list back in the 1800s to the way where people were, what they were put away for.
Oh yeah.
And some of them was like crazy,
Well, the women back in that time frame, you had menopause issues, you had, I don't know, you had like bipolar disorder or anxiety issues, you were automatically tossed away for menopause.
Yeah. Well,
Women
if a man wanted to,
if
a man back then, that's how this was too. If a man didn't want to be married anymore, he could take her over there and say, "Oh yeah, she's make up something," or just pay $25, and they would take him. Trans-Allegheny, that's what they used to do. The man he didn't want a divorce, just take her there and say there's something wrong with her, and they would say, "Okay." And these are people that had no issues. So when you drop somebody like that off, there with the kids or something, they don't want. They may not want to go. They might. This is it for me. You know what I mean? I come across a lot of spirits, and I mean every spirit that stays back. I have my theories why some of them stay back. Who, like everybody else, they don't know they're dead because something traumatic happened in them.
Yeah.
And or something traumatic, or like a war, or they got hit, something, a car accident, whatever, or they don't want to go over because they feel that they were so bad in this life that they go over. They're not going to heaven; they're going to hell. You know,
Yeah.
they're going to a worse place than here. Might as well stay behind. And the other place thing is, um, the person doesn't want to leave. This is where maybe he has family here. He wants to stay with his family. Because I know I would. If anything happens to me, I want to be with my family.
Right.
I want to come back and see what happens. Help and be there for my children. Try to be. Maybe I could pop them and say, give them good advice. I know if you go over there, you get crossover or go, you can come back, to visit. But still, I just, there's just so many different things. And some of them don't want to get crossover because of those things. Well, we got a bunch of people here. Oh, Trinity.
Paranormal
Chris.
Investigations of Long Island said, definitely interesting conversation. I can agree with both of you. Some locations, the patients had no family that were dropped off. Letchworth Village in New York was like that. It's so sad. Exactly. So sad.
Yes.
And lost trust. The people who they thought they can trust hurt them the most, even their parents. Courtney. Thanks, Courtney. That's really interesting.
Oh, that's Courtney?
Yeah.
Hey, Courtney. How you doing? Yeah, Trinity Paranormal Investigators. I had the honor to work with Chris and Kat. They came with us to, what was that? The Chrysler Mansion. And they're very good people. And Courtney, I haven't met her yet, but we've been in contact back and forth. Very good group in Long Island over here. They do a lot of investigations, and they on Facebook they show a lot of their stuff. So it's a very good group.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, by the way. We really appreciate you watching with us. Venus said, we go where we are supposed to go. No point in analyzing that too much. I think that that's true, but I do think that a lot of times, like say if there's a suicide or something traumatic, or maybe you didn't get along with your family in life, you kind of step back and you're not sure if you're going to be accepted on the other side. Or maybe you feel too comfortable here and you're not sure if you want to cross over. You don't know enough if you want to cross over. But I do think that there are a lot of people who they do investigate, but then they don't help cross over. And that's why I was kind of talking about that a little bit. I've crossed over many people. I was at Senya's house and I did help someone cross over when I was there because she was really irate and she was starting to get to her babies. She has I think she's probably, I don't think she's one yet. And then she has an almost 3-year-old, and the kids were starting to really be bothered by this girl, April, who was affecting the household. And it was a really strange situation, but I've crossed people over there. I have people that show up here all the time in the house because I think we're a beacon because we have abilities here. And I think if it were me and I didn't know what to do or how to cross over, I would want somebody to help me. And I do think that that's a situation that needs to be addressed more. I know a lot of people, I think it was Katie. Was it Katie that said that she didn't know how to cross people over, or she wasn't versed enough in it? Maybe that needs to be taught. So that's something that I'm going to write down and we can talk about that sometime. She said, I think some people don't feel comfortable with crossing spirits over. Steve and I rarely do, but have tried a few times. Is it our place? I think if people are open to it, I think that that's something that we can do. I always ask if they want to be crossed over, and I just address the fact that, there isn't any of the negatives on the other side, and I let them choose. I don't force them over. I don't like open a door and kick their ass in. I don't think that that's my place, but I do ask if they'd like to be crossed over. And a lot of people do come to my home from, I can't say the other side because they're not crossed over. I think they're just lingering spirits. They do come to me and they ask for me to help them. They do have messages first, and then they ask to leave. Conversation amongst para people regarding this topic is a good idea. I agree. So I think that that's a great thing to write down. So crossing over. But yeah, I think that this was a good topic to bring up before we leave. So it's 8:15. Anybody have anything else that they want to talk about? Mr. Fab Simonelli?
So I want to talk about. I could keep on talking all night long.
Oh, I know you can. We do it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I could keep on going on different issues. I mean, just I want to say, people that are on the audience tonight, thank you for coming. I mean, this was awesome, Katie, and I mean, Trinity. I'm so glad to see them. Courtney, you're more than welcome back. And there's Ufi. I'm saying it wrong.
Ufi.
I'm sorry, Ufi. I'm bad with names. Don't worry about it. Half the time I get my own name wrong. So I'm glad everybody came tonight. I don't see the Facebook people, but I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. When it comes to ghosts and spirits and stuff like that, this is where you come. We have a good time and everything. So if you guys have any questions about anything, look for you on Facebook. You can message me. And that's it. Next week, we're going to be on at 7:30 to 6:30, yeah? 7:30 to 9:30. That's going to be awesome. So check us out next week. Huh?
So we're here and in the UK from 7:30 to 9:30 East Coast on ERRT Radio and on the UG Media. And I guess we can, here, this is what we're going to do. We're going to split hairs. We're going to tell you who next week's guest is, since we're probably going to post it anyway. So did you get both people, or is it just one?
Only one responded.
Okay. So it's called, this person has a show called History of a Haunting, and it's absolutely hilarious. And I'm going to warn you in advance. So their show is not PG-13. It's not family friendly. However, just so you know for next time, because January 5th, we have the amazing Carrie Hopper. She's absolutely hysterical. You're going to love her. And we love her. So we don't know.
She talks more than me.
I don't know about that. I think that we all talk a lot. And she's got the spunkiest personality. We met her. Well, I met her at the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash. Did you meet her there?
I mean, I knew her before that, but that's the first time I actually met her in physically. But we talked much, before that, a lot of times before that, But yeah, that's the first time I actually met her,
Yeah.
physically.
So, I'll put the show up. So, Ufi, we will have this scheduled for 7:30. So when I put the show up, it's automatically going to be scheduled for 7:30 to 9:30. And yes, it's going to be spicy, and the nutmeg will be thrown. So Carrie Hopper with the History of a Haunting, she's going to tell you all of her best stories, I hope. And she has the podcast. She's also a paranormal investigator and a fluid artist. She is going to be with us. I don't know who's going to talk the most. We're going to be talking over each other. I hope this goes well because none of us shut up. Maybe we'll have French toast with the nutmeg. Anthony, you're going to have to draw it back a little bit because she needs to talk. I know I have to shut up, and it's tough because maybe she'll just go on all the time and we won't even have to say anything. But yes, Mercury is in retrograde. We are so looking forward to January 5th. And I hope you all have a great New Year. Stay safe, stay warm. And this is Incantations and Elixirs, where conversation meets cocktails. I'm Maureen Grudzinski, and this is my co-host.
I'm Anthony Simonelli. Happy New Year, everybody. Stay safe. Have a couple of cocktails, but don't drive. And forget about it.
We're on our way out. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.